Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, the World of Tanks Blitz, and in today's video, I will be playing in the three most fun mediums from Tier 7, 8, and 9 in World of Tanks Blitz available on the tech tree. See, the other day I made a video talking about the most fun tanks when it comes to mediums, tier 7 through 9, and in those tiers, they were all premium tanks. I just think the premiums are more fun, and we all know why that's the case. Usually wargaming makes vehicles behind a paywall a little bit more exciting. That's not to say that tech tree vehicles aren't as strong as premiums. I'm one of those people that thinks that tech tree tanks can be just as capable, if not a lot better, especially when you make your way to the higher tiers. And I'm going to be showing 3 tech tree tanks, especially on the medium side, that are absolutely amazing. We are starting off down in tier 7 with the T-34-1. This is a vehicle I've talked about quite a few times on the channel, but I haven't really talked about it in a while. And I don't really know why, but today, well, it's getting brought back up. This is my pick for the most fun Tier 7 medium. It features a 100mm, the same style 100mm you will find on Tier 8 tanks, like the T-44, T-54 Mod 1. It's got 280 damage per shot. It's got pretty solid standard pen at 170, really good premium pen at 250 mils, decent DPM at 2000, and while its dispersion and aiming time aren't anything crazy, it more than enough makes up for that with the very solid turret armor. This tank's turret effective is around 200 on base, and because it's rounded, you're actually going to get a lot of bounces using this vehicle hull down. I think this is a super fun medium. It is very underrated, and anybody that has messed around with the T-34-1 knows exactly why it is such a strong vehicle. I like turret armor, I like high alpha, and when you pair these two things together, it creates quite a challenging medium to go up against. So we're going to see how the vehicle does here. We're only going to be playing one battle in each of the tanks for today's video. If you want to learn a little bit more about them, I do have multiple videos on each of the tanks, and I can tell you that for a fact. I probably have 3 to 4 videos on each of the vehicles I have in today's video because I like them so much. So yeah, if you want to learn a little bit more about the T-34-1, I'd highly recommend to watch a full review on this tank. But hopefully we'll load into battle fairly shortly. Well, here we are, a decent matchup with some tier 6s and the majority being tier 7. We have a Sphere, IS-2 shielded, Helsing, and AMX 1375 up against us. It's nice that we got no smashers or super dangerous tanks, but we still should obviously be a little bit careful because we aren't the most armored, at least on the hull. At the end of the day, this is basically a T-34 hull, which has kind of been flattened, but it does feature very, very solid turret armor. So as long as you're using the turret, you will do more than fine. Now this tank has pretty mediocre on movement dispersion. Like, accuracy is not what this tank is known for. But that's alright. It doesn't need to be accurate. What it needs to do is hit hard. So we got this Sphere off to the side. Unfortunately, I overpoked, and I also used the wrong consumable, so I just bled a lot of health for really no reason there. That was my fault. Then we got penned by basically everything, to be honest. Oh, then we missed the shot in the AMX 1375. Well, this is a very, very bad start. It's my fault, but it's still a bad start. But there you go. We get a 370 damage HE into that enemy player there, which is obviously pretty dang nice. 1375 is off to the side still. We got the Sphere over here. Not able to pen him at that angle. Okay, well, we got to take the situation apart a little bit better here. As I said, I played very poor in the beginning and bled a lot of my health when I shouldn't have. We're just going to wait here. The Sphere is looking at my teammate off to the side, so we're going to load in an HE. There you go, nice 340 damage shot. Okay, well, we're going to reload in just a couple more seconds, and let's finish off the Sphere. There you go, nice 200 damage clear. As I did say, the accuracy of this vehicle is not great, but if you're able to make it work, you can do very well with it. So we're going to even on the T-34. I was hoping that he would poke just a little bit more, but I think he will. We're just going to have to wait patiently. Can't pen him with any standard ammo, but there you go. A 264 damaging shell right into his tank. Okay, pretty good stuff. We are going to now repair our tank's modules. We're going to aim it on the... oh, there you go. We do get the clear for 218. I am still a little cautious about that Helsing, but it's not that big of a worry, judging that the enemy team is falling apart quite quickly. Yeah, I needed a bit of a warm-up today. This is my first battle of the day. Just woke up, so It was a little bit rusty, I'm not going to lie. We're going to aim it on the IS-2. There you go. Nice 309 roll. I should also mention this tank has tungsten. And you can imagine that tungsten on a vehicle with already a high alpha is pretty dang insane. And we are absolutely rolling this enemy IS-2 shielded, who we finish off. Not too bad at all. Alright, well just like that, we are at a fairly solid chunk of damage, and we're doing pretty good. I was honestly tempted to, like, restart this video, but, looks like we brought it back a bit. Alright, well, we got the Helsing, and I would guess the Jagdpanzer IV is also over here. So we're going to go wide in a way that the Helsing will not be able to detect us until we get behind him. And then once we're behind him, as we can see, I'm going to get a nice, 350 juicer into his tank. Now, the good news is the Cryos does not really see me, so we're just going to aim it on the Helsing. We're going to get one pen into his vehicle. We're going to start backing up. Doing this is not only going to give us the advantage of obviously being able to reload, but as well, it's not going to allow the Helsing to be able to shoot us. So now we're going to roll around this corner here. We're going to get to the side of the Cryos, and we're going to finish him off. So this was actually a surprisingly good game. I will admit, I played very poor in the beginning. I overpoked, I bled my health, and I used the wrong consumables because I forgot that I put tungsten on this vehicle. But we played smart, we brought it back, we paid attention to what we were doing, and we were able to not only deal just shy of 3,000 damage, assist 1,000, but kill 4 tanks and get an ace. So, a pretty solid result, netting over 90,000 credits. You can see just how easily the T-34-1 can take advantage of its situations and use that incredible alpha damage, tungsten, and penetration to cut through whatever is in front of you. Even if you're fighting tier 8s with 250 mils of premium APCR, there is no situation you're really going to struggle to deal with. So yeah, T-34-1 is absolutely fantastic, and that is why it is in the number 1 position for tier 7. Now we move over to tier 8, which is the P-44 Pantera. This is an auto-reloading tech tree medium. There are a lot of really fun tech tree mediums at tier 8. I really like the TVP VTU. I think it's a solid underrated vehicle. You've got some fun Soviet tanks like the T-44, and even the Panther too I had a lot of fun with, and I was very close to putting the Indian Panzer in the list just because of the fact the Indian Panzer has so much DPM. But at the end of the day, the Pantera is an incredibly fun vehicle. It's an auto-reloader which features very solid DPM of 2,255 effective. It has really no DPM lossage when you dump the clip, and it's got ridiculously good pen, over 213 mils on the standard, 270 on the premium. It's got decent damage per shot, 225, and 8 degrees of gun depression. When you pair that with a top speed of 60 and even a very good power to weight, the Pantera really doesn't have any area where it struggles to do well. It's got a solid gun, solid mobility, and even though its armor isn't good, it's not awful. You can no longer HE the side of it with like the majority of lower caliber guns, where you used to be able to butter right through it. And while there is people that are disappointed in the slight loss of mobility, I don't really find it to be that big of a deal, because while it lost a bit of mobility, it gained much more armor on the frontal plate, which actually can get some troll bounces here and there, and I really can't complain. A power to weight of 24 is still very, very good. The Pantera has always been neck and neck with the Progetto 46 for me, just because of the fact I really like the Prog. The Prog is a faster incher clip, it has a bit more alpha, but the Prog does not have better standard pen, and it doesn't gain DPM when you dump the clip, where this vehicle does. So because of that, I actually kind of like the whole shtick of this vehicle. So here we are, solid matchup, but we do have some very dangerous tier 8s, an ISU-152 and a Jagdtiger. Even the tier 7s they have are very dangerous, like the Black Prince, Magnate, and SU-152. So we are going to have to be a little cautious, but as always, in about 6 seconds, I can deal 675 damage. So we can evenly trade with, honestly, all the high alpha vehicles they have. No clue what our Dracula is doing. Oh, I see what he's doing. He's being a useless teammate and not helping me on medium flank at all. Classic. Seriously, what is the point of buying a Dracula, the fastest, most versatile medium tank in tier 7, if you're going to then proceed to camp on the ridgeline with it? Like, why would you even buy it? Just buy a tank destroyer. That's what I've never understood about people that camp, is why not just drive a tank destroyer if you're going to play like a wimp and not help your team at all? Because at least if you're driving a Stura Mill or, something that has no armor, it's understandable that you're going to camp and spawn with it. But, like, I don't know. Personally, I just never have understood why you wouldn't just get a tank destroyer. Oh well. Either way, we got the Magnate on the side, and oh boy. That's an SU-152. We can see that Magnate did load a gold shell to try and penetrate us. I'm not necessarily worried about the Magnate. It's more the ISU. Oh, we got a Panther 2 in front of us. You'll notice the armor on this vehicle is not good. I mean, we got penned easily from the enemy tanks, and we have no support. As I said, the Dracula is camping on top of the ridgeline, so right now we are completely alone. Rather disappointing, but there's literally nothing I can do about it. It's not the tank's fault. I mean, yeah, the armor hasn't really helped us too much. We got penned at a pretty steep angle there. But again, it's not really something that the Pantera is meant to go up against when your team doesn't support you. We have the enemy Yag Tiger, and I'm going to aim it on his side. There you go. We get a 240 damage shot, and we get another 240 damage shot. That's a very solid chunk of damage, 450 taken off of his tank. It's a great example of where the damage output of this tank is obviously quite good. We have the SU-152 right in front of me, and there's one pen into the SU, and 2 pens into the SU, and obviously he's dead. I am, while not having the most support on the hill, if I just stay a little bit further back where I am currently, I have 1, 2, 3, oh, and I have another camping medium. Crazy. So I have 2 players camping in spawn in this game. That is absolutely crazy for me to think of, but whatever. I mean, we're getting out good bleeds, we're helping our team. Unfortunately, that shell on the glacial did not hit, but as you can see, the next one did. We have the Panther 2 aiming at us, but Panther gets bled once by the CDC, and we are going to bounce him. That is very surprising. I'm not really sure why this Panther 2 is YOLOing me, but go ahead, bro. This is not going to work out well for you. Yeah, whoa, yeah, what a skilled player. These are real players. These are not bots. These are real players making actual decisions. And that player's decision was to full speed YOLO me for no reason. Alright, well, we're going to aim it on the ISU. I don't know if we're going to be able to kill him, but I'm going to wait for my second shell, and there you go. Easy shot clearing his tank. Well, I can say we did a fairly good job. We had very little support from our camping teammates, but doesn't really matter if you're able to take advantage of them. We got 1 shell into you. We could HE the rear of the Magnate, but there's really no reason to when we can get a pretty solid chunk out anyway. We've dealt a very good amount of damage, and look at how fast this thing reloads the clip. I mean, the fact that this tank just gets those shells so quickly allows it to feel amazing when actually playing. So we have the Yag Tiger all the way in the back. We're going to aim it on the rear of the Yag Tiger. There's 1 penning shell. Unfortunately, the Yag Tiger's just kind of like lost. I don't know what bro's doing. That shell misses, which is not really what I wanted, but we get another shell into the Yag Tiger. So overall, a pretty solid game, dealing over 3,000 damage, holding and supporting our team. Overall, the Pantera is an incredibly versatile and solid tank. You'll notice how I always have shells to use, and even if I don't, because this tank has solid single-shot DPM at over 2,000, it really doesn't matter if I dump the clip. We assisted 1,362 because we had a camping Dracula and CDC, and at the same time, we were also able to do a lot of damage ourselves. So I really can't get all too mad. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't understand how you can play 42,000 games and still sit in spawn. Same for the AMX CDC. I mean, at least that player's win rate is relative to his performance in that game, but I don't know. Guys, if you have medium tanks, do your job in them. Don't camp and spawn. Help out on medium flank, because if you don't, games can quickly become defeats. If I was not on that hill and I wasn't spotting for my team, the chance of us winning would have been much lower. So let's make our way to the final medium for today's video, and it is another Italian auto reloader, this one being the Standard B. I personally love the Italian auto reloaders. I think they are some of the best tanks to grind in the game right now. I think they are very fun, versatile, and engaging to play in. And because of that, I really just wanted to throw the Standard B in as well. There's a lot of fun tier 9 mediums. The Skoda T50 is absolutely fantastic, and an S tier tank. Was tempted to put that in the video. There's really no French mediums, and you go over to China, the WZ-120, super underrated, very fun. The Type 61 is actually pretty fun for me. I like the Centurion 7-1, that was also a close pick. There are a lot of very fun tanks overall on the trees, but personally, I really like the Standard B. First of all, it has a 350 alpha auto-reloading gun, which again, just like the P44 Pantera, gains DPM when you dump the clip, which is incredibly nice. Not only that, but the vehicle has great penetration. It has a super good high explosive pen. It's got over 100 mils of HE pen, and it's got 400 damage per shot. This vehicle actually fires high explosive Maybe it's high explosive plastics or high explosive squash head. I don't think it has HESH, but I think it has HEP. Either way, it's got super good HE penetration, and when you pair all that with the fact the vehicle is very mobile and has solid gun depression, it is an incredibly dangerous tank. It basically says, hey, you could drive a Leopard PTA, or you could drive a tank that gets out 1,050 damage in 6 seconds. And personally, I'd much rather deal the 1,050 damage and have a little bit of downtime at lower DPM than have a tank with 6 degrees of gun depression. So we'll see what we can do here. I have a Moose, and he is a Metro player, and while Metro is not as good as they used to be, they are still usually good enough players to know where they're going. So I'm going to head wide, but I don't know where our team's going, so I'm going to push up towards mid. It's really dependent on where the team goes. See, that guy's going wide. Oh, we got a CDC right in the... Okay, well, there's one issue with the Pantera, and that is the accuracy. That should not have missed, but it did. And that's something you're always going to have to keep in mind while driving this vehicle. As we can see, our team is not here at all. So our Moose has possibly killed himself. It's hard to tell. I mean, he's trying to get some good damage out, but at the same time, bro has to be really, really careful. I'm going to try and support him to the best of my ability, though. We're going to aim in a high explosive shell, but we're not able to pen it with that shot. However, we can see that I am able to HESH pen him through the side at that angle there. Looks like the enemy heavies are also on the other flank, so at this point, we should easily be able to help out with the AMX CDC. Let's reload, and there is one high explosive shell into his vehicle, and there you go. CDC is cleared. We can see how featuring this auto-reloading gun is very, very nice. Now that Lanson is incredibly lucky the enemy team did not end up going towards this flank, because if they did, he would have died. That's why I played smart. I didn't put myself in a position where I could have been misplayed. So we can notice that the T30, E75, and VK45 are all holding against our two teammates. So if I play this right, I can just squeeze my tank right behind here, and we can get some nasty HE shells, possibly into this VK45. There's one HE, there is 2 HE, and if we can load in one more, that right there is a 1,200 damage clip. And you can see why having high explosive ammunition in this vehicle is absolutely devastating. It's actually like incredibly devastating. We get a nice 300 shot. It is a low roll, but we still do deal 300 damage to the E75. And as I said, you actually have more damage per minute using this tank as a single shot than you do as an auto reloader. So the ISU is going to clear the enemy T30, and we are now going to make our way to the rear of the E75. We're going to get one shell out. I'm not able to high explosive pen him, but we still get another shell out, and the ISU is going to finish him off. So overall, pretty solid stuff. We have the IS-3 all the way in the back, and we get a nice 338 clear into the IS-3. At this point, we have dealt a pretty solid amount of damage, 3,600. I don't know if we're going to be able to deal any to this Object 704, but I guess we are going to find out. The 1390 is obviously going to try and clip him, so we are going to make our way right over to his tank, and we're getting blocked by the 1375, but we get one pen out, and we get 2. There you go. Pretty solid stuff. So we did over 4,000 damage. We got a win. And, yeah, all very, very good games. As we can see, these tanks are incredibly capable. And before you go in the chat and say, oh, Droodle's cherry picks, well, let's take a look and see if Droodle's cherry picks. Because as you'll notice, this was our T-34-1 game, this was our P-44 Pantera game, and this was our standard B game, all one after another. As I say on the channel many times, what I show you is the real deal. And that is why these tanks are all fantastic. Sure, you might struggle a little bit to know how to use them properly, but at the end of the day, I think they are amazing. I also realized I forgot to turn on the audio in the background of the game. Unfortunate. I'll just put in some background music. Either way, all these tanks are amazing. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.